Hey everybody, I wanted to stop what I was doing today and shoot this video for you, do a little Facebook Living with you all. And I told my team earlier this morning that we were going to do it at 2 o'clock, and I said we're going to talk about the big mistake people make when talking to other people. And you may be thinking, well, Kevin, I talk to people all day long. Am I making a mistake? Well, maybe you are. Actually, all of us are making the mistake some of the time. Some people make it all of the time. So here's the mistake. We focus on our message, what we want to say, rather than focusing on our audience, who we're saying it to. So we have to remember that our communication is for the benefit of, for the persuasion of, influence of, whatever, the other person. So if we focus only on the message, not going to go so well. Let me give you an example. This is the 15th video that I've shot today. First one I've shot in this chair, but the 15th video I've shot today. And this is the 4th different audience that I've spoken to via video today. And Marissa's on the other side of her iPhone, and she would, if she were on this side, she would say, yeah, in between, when he moves from one thing to the next, he stops for a minute, he stops and thinks, and I'm not just thinking about what I'm going to say, but I'm thinking about who I'm saying it to. I also recently had the chance to speak to a whole big old gaggle of middle school students. And the comment that I made was, wow, it's really a different audience than I'm used to speaking to. And it was. And it challenged me and it reminded me that the audience is what matters the most. Yeah, I had a message to share, and it's a similar message that I could share with other folks, but I had to share it differently. Now, in that particular case, it may seem kind of obvious, right? But I want to go back and say again, I didn't want to bury the lead, so I gave you the mistake at the beginning. Here's the mistake. The mistake that we make when we communicate is we focus too much on the message and not enough on the audience. Now, both, of course, are important. But if you remember what communication is message sent and message received. So that means that if I'm sending messages to you right now, I have to think a little bit about who I think you might be. A bit of a challenge on Facebook Live when I don't know who's out there or who might be listening to it or watching it later. But I've got to think about the context that I'm in for whatever I'm going to talk about first. So yeah, I have a message. Yes, I have some things I want to share, but it has to relate to the idea of who are the folks? What do I want them to get? How do I want them to feel? What reaction do I want them to have? What decision do I want them to make? All of that needs to be in place before I think about what am I actually going to say. And too many of us spend all of our time thinking about, well, this is what I'm going to say. In fact, we say things like, well, I told them, or how many times do I have to tell them? See, all that's focused on the message and not on the audience. The big mistake we make, and we all make it, is we focus too much on our message and not enough on our audience. So I hope that was useful. So my challenge to you today is in your next communication, focus on who you're talking to first. And in your next challenging conversation, the one that you're anticipating to be more challenging, spend a couple minutes thinking about the who and about where they're at and about what their perspective is first. If you do that, I promise you, it'll be a more successful and less stressful communication.